Acme, Washington, nestled in the shadow of Mount Baker, embodied rural American safety in the late 1980s. Its heartbeat was the local diner, where generations gathered for hearty breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, and the general store, a hub for essentials and gossip. Doors stayed unlocked. Neighbors knew each other deeply, fostering a profound sense of security that felt unshakable. This innocence was violently shattered on November 24, 1989, the day after Thanksgiving. Mandy Stavik, an 18-year-old freshman home from Central Washington University, embarked on a routine afternoon jog down rural Strand Road with her German shepherd, Kyra. Hours later, Kira returned alone, agitated and muddy. Mandy did not. As dusk fell and she failed to return, panic seized her family. Her mother, Mary, knew instantly something was terribly wrong. Mandy was reliable, vibrant, and deeply connected to her home. What followed was an unprecedented community mobilization. By nightfall, hundreds of volunteers, friends, neighbors, farmers, classmates, fanned out across the rain-soaked countryside with flashlights, calling Mandy's name. The search continued relentlessly for 3 agonizing days. Hope dwindled with each passing hour. Then, on November 27th, a grim discovery was made in the frigid churning waters of the South Fork of the Nooksack River. Detective Ron Peterson, navigating a Zodiac inflatable boat through a side channel, spotted a flash of pink. It was Mandy, submerged face down, identifiable only by her distinctive tennis shoes and socks. Peterson, a father himself, was overwhelmed by the sight. When I rolled her over, it was kind of a real shock to me because she looked like my daughter, he would later recount, the memory etched with pain. The act of recovery was solemn. Peterson whispered, "I got you," as he lifted her from the water. A moment of profound, heartbreaking dignity. The community was plunged into collective grief and terror. Jim Freeman, Mandy's high school basketball coach and a father figure after her parents' divorce, struggled to articulate the loss at her memorial. Attended by nearly 1,000 devastated souls, he recalled her infectious smile and fierce determination, reading from a card she'd given him. "The one person who has inspired and influenced me more than anyone. Thank you, you're the greatest." Mandy was more than a victim. She was a top student, athlete, number 13 on the basketball team, cheerleader, and aspiring airline pilot. She wanted to do everything and be the best at everything she did, and she was, her mother, Mary, stated, her voice heavy with the weight of stolen potential. Her sister Molly simply said, "Mandy was larger than life." The sense of safety evaporated overnight. Doors were locked. Fear replaced trust. The unspoken question haunted everyone. There was a killer out there somewhere. Was this person going to strike again? Detective Ron Peterson's recent FBI training in DNA evidence recovery proved crucial. Understanding the body's position in the water could degrade evidence. He meticulously oversaw her removal to preserve potential traces of her attacker. The autopsy confirmed sexual assault and recovered male DNA, semen, a vital clue in 1989, though the science was still emerging. The investigation initially focused on known figures. David Sushi, a local drifter seen nearby that day, ruled out by DNA. Mandy's boyfriend, Rick Zender, thoroughly investigated and cleared, and numerous other local men who voluntarily gave samples. Over 30 men were initially tested. Despite massive effort and thousands of tips, the DNA matched none of them. Leads dried up. The case turned cold, a dark cloud hanging over Acme for decades. Mary Stavik lost hope. "I just really didn't have any hope that became more ingrained in me as the years went on." But Detective Kevin Bowie, a Mount Baker High graduate like Mandy, who joined the sheriff's office just months after her murder, refused to let it die. "Mandy's dead," he declared, "but this case was not going to die." He meticulously re-examined old files, chasing faded leads. A critical shift came in 2013, not from a detective's desk, but from a suburban water park. 2 acquaintances, Heather Backstrom and Marilee Anderson, both Mount Baker High alumni, were watching their children play. The conversation turned, as it often did in Acme, to the enduring mystery of Mandy Stavik. What happened next was extraordinary. Heather confessed, "I just kind of turned to Marilee and said, 'Well, I am sure I know who killed her.' Marilee, stunned, replied, 'Oh, I do too.' Both whispered the same name, Timothy Bass. Each had buried terrifying encounters with Bass for over 20 years, fearing disbelief or reprisal in their small town. Heather recounted being 15 in 1989 when Bass, then in his 20s, unnerved her in a truck. commenting obsessively on her eyes and tracing a pen along her leg. Merrily described a harrowing 1991 incident where Bass, pretending car trouble, forced his way into her home, cornered her in her bedroom, and declared his obsession before she threatened to call police. Sharing their secret fears unleashed their courage. Merrily contacted Detective Ken Gates, another Mount Baker alum, igniting the investigation's final phase. Detectives discovered Timothy Bass had lived alarmingly close to Mandy in 1989, less than 2 miles away, directly along her regular jogging route on Strand Road. Astonishingly, neither he nor his family had ever been seriously scrutinized. Bass, now married with 3 children and working as a bakery truck driver, presented as quiet and unassuming. Investigators approached him cautiously in 2013. His reaction was telling. He feigned barely remembering Mandy. Mandy? Oh yeah, she was a girl that they found on the river. Crucially, he refused a DNA sample. I don't want to give my DNA. I watch those crime shows. I see how many people go to prison because they've given DNA. Police initiated surveillance, hoping to retrieve discarded DNA, but Bass was careful. The breakthrough came unexpectedly from within his workplace. Kim Wagner, his boss at the bakery, aware of the investigation and harboring her own deep suspicions about Bass's volatile temper and misogyny. He never called me Kim. He always called me woman. Deduced what detectives needed. You guys want DNA, don't you? She asked them. I can get it for you. For 3 tense months, Kim watched, emptying trash cans prematurely to ensure she'd spot anything Bass discarded. Finally, she saw him toss a plastic cup and later a Coke can. Her heart pounding, she retrieved them. It's game time. I was dying because there's a lot of people around, she recalled. The items were rushed for testing. The wait was agonizing. 3 months later, the call came. A definitive match between the DNA on the cup and the semen found in Mandy Stavik in 1989. Detective Bowie described the moment. You hear them, but you're not sure. It's almost like I'm dreaming. Armed with this irrefutable evidence, detectives confronted Bass again in December 2017. His story unraveled spectacularly. First, he denied knowing Mandy well. Confronted with the DNA, he blurted, I slept with Mandy, claiming a secret consensual affair. A claim never hinted at before and vehemently denied by everyone who knew Mandy. He was arrested on the spot in the bakery parking lot, charged with kidnapping, rape, and murder. We've got him, an officer radioed. The news sent shockwaves. Molly Stavik reacted with disbelief. I really never dreamed it. Kim Wagner, learning the family knew, felt profound relief. That's why I did it. I just never forgot about Mandy. The 2018 trial was charged with emotion. Prosecutor Dave McEachran, coming out of retirement specifically for this case, methodically laid out the evidence. Mandy's route, the abduction scenario, Bowie theorized a gun was used, the signs of a struggle, scratches from blackberry bushes indicating flight, the sexual assault, the fatal blow, and the DNA. The defense, led by Shoshana Page, seized on Bass's last-minute claim of an affair, arguing the sex was consensual and unrelated to her murder, suggesting the DNA could be days old. Forensic experts dueled over the semen's deposition timeline. The prosecution dismantled the affair fantasy. No witnesses, no phone records, no prior hints in 28 years. The most damning testimony came from Bass's inner circle. His ex-wife, Gina, described his controlling abuse and revealed he'd asked his mother to falsely blame his deceased father for the murder. His brother Tom testified Bass pressured him to lie about also having sex with Mandy to make her seem promiscuous. He said, Mom, maybe you can say we were Christmas shopping. Tom, do what you can, Tom recounted. Kim Wagner bravely testified about retrieving the DNA. The prosecution's closing was powerful. This was not a situation where there was consensual sex. She was abducted, she was raped, and she was killed. After 5 hours of deliberation, the jury rejected Bass's fabricated story. On June 15, 2018, Timothy Bass was found guilty of first-degree felony murder, second-degree rape, and second-degree kidnapping. The courtroom erupted in tears of relief and vindication. At sentencing, Mandy's brother-in-law, Mike Brighton, spoke for the shattered family. Timothy Forrest Bass must never be allowed to walk the earth as a free person. Never. Ever. Bass's mother proclaimed his innocence, but Bass himself offered only a terse statement, maintaining it before telling the Staviks. The better man in me says, give this day to the Stavik family. The judge imposed the maximum sentence possible, nearly 27 years, noting Bass had lived free from responsibility for 3 decades while his family was caught in its web. For Mary Stavik, it brought hard-won closure. After all, they've got the guy that did it. Tom Bass and the women Bass harassed, Heather merrily, reflected soberly on the potential for more victims if he hadn't been caught. The relentless pursuit of justice, spanning nearly 3 decades and fueled by community courage, Heather, merrily Kim, and unwavering police work, Peterson, Bowie, McEachran, finally allowed Acme to begin healing. The locked doors might never fully unlock again, but the shadow of Mandy Stavik's unsolved murder had lifted, replaced by the certainty of justice served. The village, as Kim Wagner knew, had indeed come together.